How were y'all's counselors at summer camp? Were they fun and proactive? Maybe disinterested because it was a summer volunteer job? Or were they strict and uptight? Did you have one or multiple counselors? I only ask because for one camp in particular, there were two counselors that ran it. And they are complete yin and yangs of one another, with conflicting ideals and beliefs that would shape how the camp is run in multiple extreme ways, sometimes for better, but often for worse. Their names? David and Gwen. This is the tale of two counselors.
There's a place I know that's tucked away, a place where you and I can stay, where we can go to laugh and play and have adventures every day. I know it sounds hard to believe, but guys and gals, it's true. Camp Campbell is the place for me and you.
Come on, you stupid TV. Turn up, come on. There we go, much better.
So who are David and Gwen? David is a high-energy, slightly ignorant counselor who loves his job and nature, sometimes a bit too much, while Gwen is the exact opposite, anxious, fearful, and someone who doesn't want to be here, typically trying to get away from everyone as much as possible as a result. The two contrast each other quite nicely, with Gwen always having to be the one to point out flaws with David's ideas, and David often ignoring and disregarding what she says because he's too busy being an airhead. Although there are some episodes in this series which do test this dynamic, even flipping it on its head, but we'll get to those later. So how did David and Gwen end up at Camp Campbell? For David, he had been going there since he was a kid, as pointed out in several episodes, like Jasper dies at the end. Here we see a completely different David than the one we see in the series. He bears a striking resemblance to Max. He's rude to everyone, hates camping, and doesn't want to be there. But what ultimately changes him is when he wins a badge for bravery after saving Jasper, thus growing his love for camp, and his dreams of someday wanting to be a counselor. Gwen, on the other hand, only came to Camp Campbell due to them being the only ones to hire her. This job isn't her passion like it is for David, thus making her completely disillusioned to the camp as a whole, and if she wasn't needed for activities, she wouldn't be around. Something interesting is that David has no degrees and never went to college, as far as we know, while Gwen did, graduating with a dual major in liberal arts and psychology, while also going for another major in meteorology during the summer. All pretty useless degrees as she's only ever used her psychology degree in David Gets Hard to get Nerf to open up, and her meteorology studies in the Christmas special, when she talks about climate change at the end of the episode. Surely this isn't everything, right? Surely there is something more to them that meets the eye, right? Well, this is my video, clearly something has to be off about each of them, otherwise I wouldn't be here. These two have tons of issues under the hood that need to be examined. Take for instance David's obsession with wanting Camp Campbell to be his father, as shown across multiple episodes. This isn't something a normal person does. Then there's Gwen's constant breakdowns and weird fantasy fanfic obsessions, like how she's attracted to a fish creature and something's fishy. So let's take a deep dive into both of these counselors and point out possible instances of their terrible mental states. Our first inkling of something being off about Gwen comes from the literal first episode, when she has a full-blown panic attack about where her life has gone while being surrounded by campers. Later, the show does expand on Gwen's self-esteem issues that we see here, as well as some of her daddy issues from Party Pooper. Here we see Gwen's dad Lewis as he comes to Camp Campbell to see his precious little girl. He eventually gets coerced into playing a small concert for them that night, however there are some issues that come with setting up something like that so quickly. Little things like needing special permits, submitting ample noise requests, etc. But instead of everyone agreeing with her that it would be impossible to set up something like that on such short notice, David thanks her for taking care of it. This shows us that she is a bit of a pushover. She eventually does do it, but is again sidelined when one of her applications falls through because bureaucracy is fun. With this, she is yet again pushed by her dad, insisting that she let it go a little, starkly contrasting her daughter's strict and uptight attitude with his chill, laid-back personality. She resists, saying that she can't do that because if she does, the camp closes. But her dad still insists and blames her generation for being so uptight. This back and forth eventually boils over into her snapping at her dad, but rather than yelling, she instead just sighs and walks away, insisting quietly that
I don't care that everyone thinks I'm a party pooper. I don't care everyone thinks I'm a loser. I know who I am, and I'm proud of myself. I just wish you were too.
leaving without another word. She eventually makes up with her dad on the dock, capping off their story in a nice little bow tie. But still, with such a complicated and negative relationship she had with her dad, it makes you wonder how long something like this went on for. Could these image issues have stemmed from her dad calling out her uptight behavior? David's issues start showing as early as the Order of the Sparrow, when he is knocked unconscious and hallucinates everyone having fun around the bonfire. The smoke from the fire morphs into Cameron Campbell, who states how proud he is of Davy, before then stating,
Also, hey, I'm your real father.
why does David want Cameron to be his dad? Is it potentially due to a lack of a proper father figure, or really any father figure at all in David's life? Let's put a pin in that for later and instead look at something different. Like what happens when this dynamic is flipped on its head. We could see this occur in the Lake Lilac Summer Social, where Gwen tries to play matchmaker with a few of the campers, while David tries to find something fun to do because everyone is bored. Things get out of hand when nothing goes according to plan, so she keeps digging her hole deeper to correct things, eventually culminating in this beautiful scene.
See, I knew Neil had a crush on Aaron, but somehow in trying to match up Aaron with Neil, she developed a crush on Snake, whose crush on the other kid with an eye patch, Tabby, who's borderline obsessed with Neil.
Well, it sounds like your matchmaking's caused enough trouble for the night.
And that's what I thought.
Please stop there.
But I realized I can actually make everything better for everyone. See, Aaron's just going to break Neil's heart, so all I have to do is make Neil realize that Tabby isn't all that bad and likes him just the way he is. Then Aaron will be free to pursue Snake, who I'm sure will come to appreciate her, but not before Tabby and Neil get together and Neil gets over Aaron. Otherwise, this broken heart will throw the whole thing out the window. It's that easy.
And you're telling me this because you want my advice, right? Because my advices don't.
No, I just need you to distract everyone while I pile up my steam on graph paper in my bunk. Thanks for understanding.
Oh, so this is what it feels like to be the level-headed counselor.
Hey, so about her playing with campers like they are on a TV show, and this may be a weird segment, well, let's talk about Gwen's sexual behavior, because she is weird. Like, very weird. Normal people would try to repress their sexual behaviors while at a children's camp. Not Gwen, though. She almost admits to a few campers that
My days off are for writing fan fiction and mastering the fine arts.
And if that wasn't bad enough, she also talks about her haptic devices to some of the campers as proof that they went into the counselor's cabin. This doesn't just extend to fiction, but also an actual fish creature that she goes on dates with and even kisses, which transforms it into a human that she doesn't like and so dips out, breaking his heart in the process because she wanted to have sex with a fish creature. What the fuck? So back to David. His obsession with only seeing the good in things often gets him into awkward positions. For example, when the camp is put in danger, like in Camp Campbell, when an identical version of David appears, named Daniel, and David hires him, he denies that anything bad is going on and brushes it off or makes excuses, despite being shown that Daniel is a cult leader. This shows his ignorance more than anything else, though he's not completely stupid as shown in Keep the Change, where he is smart enough to hire a robber to act out a robbery in order to get Cameron Campbell to save them. It does end up backfiring, but not due to his intelligence. So those are their main issues. But what about their relationships with the campers? For starters, David likes all the campers, that much is obvious, but one person he likes more than the rest is Max. As stated earlier, David used to hate going to camp, much like Max. David may see himself in Max as he knows if he continues to push Max, maybe one day Max will turn out just like him. Along the same lines, David's potential fatherlessness and Max's neglect make them more similar to each other than one might think. On the other hand, Gwen doesn't really give a shit about any of the campers. She either dislikes them like Nikki or Neil, or absolutely hates them like Space Kid or Nerf. The only one we see that she actually warms up to a little is Max, mainly because they share the same I don't want to be here attitude with each other that neither one can get from the other campers or David. To recap, David has a weird obsession with wanting Cameron Campbell to be his dad, which could be caused by a lack of a father figure in his life, which may also contribute to his ignorance and his rose-tinted glasses worldview, and why he may feel very attached to Max in particular, as they share the same issues and are similar in their history. While Gwen also has father issues, they are mostly resolved in a single episode, but what she doesn't fix is her sexual urges, which may stem from a lack of any partner in her life or an uncontrolled access to the internet at a young age, considering this is meant to be taking place in the modern age. So it is very possible that's the reason. The fact that we could dive into these characters and dissect this much out of them is why this show continues to be great even after its cancellation. Wait, Rooster Teeth is back? Wait, does that mean Camp Camp is back?
There's a place I know that's tucked away, a place where you and I can stay, where we can go to laugh and play and have adventures every day. I know it sounds hard to believe, but guys and gals, it's true. Camp Campbell is the place for me and you.
Not again. No. Oh, no. Oh, boy. What do I do? That's right. I can just go steal Fagan's TV.